Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Assalamualaikum and good morning to all of you here. Okay, welcome back after Eid Aidul Fitri's leave. Welcome back. I wish you all Eid Mubarak and for non-Muslim, welcome back from the holiday. Okay, before I start, just to ask you all taking courseworks, right? Is it by coursework or by research? Just asking.
Coursework, Doctor.
Oh, by coursework, yeah.
Yes, Doctor.
Is it the entire class taking the coursework? Is it the entire class?
Yes.
By coursework, okay. Just asking because they are normally MBA have two modes, either coursework or research. So since you all are more on coursework here, therefore the research is half heavy, rather than by research. MBA by research, the research might be very heavy if you are taking the research mode. Okay, but nevertheless, I want to cover. This is a very important things in the research, which is designing and administering the online questionnaire. What you can do and what to avoid. So I will teach you on a certain rule of thumb on developing the questionnaires. And also, I will do a hands-on on the Google form. We will use a Google form to demonstrate to you, and how to construct the questionnaire later. Okay, now. So these are the 11 areas. However, I will add another one, which is a hands-on, the last part of the slides. Okay, now I would like to differentiate between interview and questionnaire because I believe some of you or most of you misconceptualize the interview or questionnaire. All right. It's totally two different things. Interview and questionnaire are totally two different things. You cannot make it as a similar. All right. So from as far as a questionnaire is concerned, because we are more focusing on the questionnaire. Questionnaire, normally we collected the information from the large number of people. For example, 50 people, 100 people, 150, 200, 250, 300. So we do a mass data collection. But for interview, we conduct the question and answer between one-to-one. That means individuals only. For example, I'm interviewing you, related to the certain question related to the topics that I want to work on. So the interview is impossible to conduct in large numbers. For example, I'm the only one interviewer, need to interview 50 people in one time. So it cannot be like that. For questionnaire, it's less flexible and less economical. So that's why we have Google Form. It's free and flexible. You can develop and they can collect the data over time, anytime. But this one is a less flexible. That means there are certain rule of thumb that you need to follow. But for interview, more economical because you need to travel into certain place to meet that people and then need to interview thoroughly lah. And then somehow kena belanja makan jugalah orang yang you interview tu especially when you interviewed a very important person, VIP. So that is the interview. And I go straight away down there. Questionnaire is more on quantitative. That means by statistic, by numbers. But for interview is more on qualitative, which is by word or by non-numbers. And the rest of it, you can see here, less time and money to conduct. A lot of time and money to conduct. Only one person can be interviewed at time. And then questionnaire, you can distribute to many persons. So that's why questionnaire is recommended. And then the response, chances or non-responses are high because sometimes respondent ignore. It's because some of the people, they see the link, but they didn't click and they didn't fill up the questionnaire. But for interview, because you make an arrangement, make a appointment with that particular person, so the chances of response must be there. And questionnaire, this is the rule of thumb here, must be structured. It cannot be like the sequence must be there. But for interview, you can twist the question. You can change the structure of question. For example, you can go for question number 7 first, followed by question number 3, because interview is more on casual question, semi-structured, but for questionnaire is more on fully structured. So that's why we have certain sections to fill up in the questionnaire. Now, honeycombs of research methodology, as because you are doing questionnaires, that's why here interviews are different from questionnaire. That means you are more on deductive. Deductive means that theory first, and then from the theory, the outcome will be the findings. Yeah, and then of course your research is quantitative, and then you will do action research whereby you yourself involved in the data collection. That means the involvement of you are there. And then from the questionnaire, the data that you collected, you will run two types of analysis, will be descriptive and inferential, but that one will be later, because for the time being right now, we want to develop the questionnaire first. Once the data are there, we will do the analysis. But for the moment, we need to develop the instrument first, which is questionnaire. All right. First thing first, you need to identify the respondent. Who will answering your questions? Identify the respondents. There are two basic ways to identify respondents. Number one, unit of analysis. Main entity or object that a researcher examines in the study is the one and who that is being studied or analyzed. I will cover this one shortly because we have a different type of unit of analysis later on. That means who will you analyze later? And then the scope of the study. Scope, that means what is your coverage, the boundaries within a research the research project will be performed. The purpose is to focus on the study, then eliminate what is not covered. Okay, this is interesting because at some point, certain students make a mistake whereby they have their own title. Yes, they have their own title, but the respondents are not related to the title. I will show you later. Okay, you have the topic, yes, but you ask the wrong people. Okay, that's what I'm saying. So you need to ensure that you ask the right person. You give the questionnaire to the right person for them to answer. So let's have a look at the unit of analysis. Once you determine the unit of analysis and the scope of study, it is good to proceed. Okay, so unit of analysis selection. Number one is individual. That means you will distribute the questionnaire either a person. That means normally a person. You cannot give a questionnaire to animals. Okay, so normally individual is a person. For example, KWSP account tree users, for example. So these are individuals because they're having account tree. Another example is employee. Employee means that those who are working in that company, and you will analyze individually because different workers, different employees will giving different response. That is number one. Number two is group, a collection of individuals who interact with each other, such as families, teams, or communities. For example, you interview the entire, not interview, you distribute the questionnaire to the entire family, father, mother, because your study is more on, let's say, financial literacy on the family, for example. Therefore, your analysis will be families. Or another example is early childhood. Early childhood. So that means not only it's impossible for you to give a questionnaire to kids that age 3 to 4 years old, but you giving the questionnaire to the parents. Parents can become a group because they are becoming two in one. That means father and mother. Teams, that means, for example, departments. You analyze the department. For example, Department of Finance. From 10 companies, for example. Department of HR, 10 companies. Another thing is, let's say, Department of Logistics, for example, 10 teams. Or communities. Communities, that means housing communities. For example, Taman Sri Muda. Or let's say section 14 Shah Alam, for example. So you're analyzing the groups there. And number three is organization, formal groups of people such as businesses, schools, or government agencies, because you're analyzing the organizations. For example, football club association. So that means you're giving the questionnaire to the entire, let's say we have 60 football clubs in Malaysia, for example. So this, you're analyzing the organizations. Okay, number 4, social interactions. Yeah, formal or informal interaction between members of society, such as friendship or social media users. So, if you distribute the questionnaire to, let's say, Facebook or Instagram or Twitter users, that means you analyze social interactions. Okay, and then number 5, artifacts, physical object created by humans that can be studied empirically, such as phone, books, or photograph. But this one is more on the secondary data. Yeah, because you analyze the archive. And the last one, geographical unit, yeah. Special areas smaller than a nation, ranging from provinces to neighborhood. Provinces such as states, yeah. Kelantan, Johor, Terengganu, yeah. And then also the sub-region, sub-region such as Muar, yeah, Air Keroh, yeah, Rembau, Jelebu. So some of the district, that you analyze. But normally, for questionnaire is either this one, yeah, individuals, groups, organization, and social interaction. But worst come to worst are individuals, yeah. Okay, so you need to see, Okay, but one of the common popular question that I receive is, if I want to distribute the questionnaire to managers, managers, what will be the unit of analysis? That means my unit of analysis is individuals, but more on managers. If, let's say, if you want to distribute the questionnaire to managers. Okay. But let's say, if you want to distribute the questionnaire to parents, that means it's more on families. So you need to target what is your unit of analysis, because normally that will be asked here during the paneling, let's say, because if you do the present your project. Now, this is the example, the research objective. The topic or research objective that you want to work on is determinants of work-life balance among nurses in Malaysia using theory of planned behavior. That means the theory of planned behavior is not included in the topic, but I can understand that this is the theory that you applied, in this study. So you want to work on determinants of work-life balance among nurses. So what is covered, what is not covered? So you need to look at the general purposes. Definitely, this is your dependent variable. So of course, it will cover dependent variable. That means other than work-life balance is not covered in the questionnaire. So because you need to is centric on that. That means your work-life balance should be focuses in the questionnaire. Population and sample. Since this is nurses, definitely the sample will cover nurses. Other than nurses will not be covered in this questionnaire. You cannot simply distribute the questionnaire to your non-targets. That means in this case, you cannot distribute the questionnaire into other than nurses. Let's say policemen or army or civil servant. So you cannot. So you need to make sure that nurses are the one who answer the question. Duration of the study is not applicable because it's not time series. You can distribute at any time until you get the desired number of responses. And the last one is theory of planned behavior. And there is not cover other than this theory. That means your questionnaire need to covers the conceptual framework. Okay, later on, we will talk on that. Even the study use the same theory, but you cannot use the same questionnaire set to different samples. Okay, this is very, very important. Because I saw the blunders from the students here related on this. For example, work-life balance questionnaire for nurses cannot be same statement as questionnaire for police. That means you cannot use the same set of questionnaire for nurses used to the police, for example. Okay, so what will be the solution? Because you can, the questionnaire for nurses is especially for questionnaire for nurses. Because the statements are quite different from the police. Different from the civil servant, different from teachers. So what is the solution? The solution is through official definition. That means you have the general definition, but the definition should be zooming into the target. But before I go into that, any question? Let me check the chat to see if you have any question inside here. Okay, no questions, right? Okay, so if there is no question, let's go on to the operational definition. But before that, we will later session. Now, have you learned about sampling before? Just asking.
Yes, doctor.
Oh, already. Do you want me to revisit again? Maybe in an easy way so you two can understand better.
Yes, better.
Okay, that's better. Eh? Okay, now sampling technique process. Yeah, as you can see here, this is the analogy. Yeah, I want to make you understand first. The first thing first is you need to determine the population. Population means that the total number of the target areas. For example, if your sample is hospital ABC, for example, and let's say hospital Shah Alam, for example, and that you determine that the entire workers in entire nurses in this hospital Shah Alam, let's say example 1,000 people, 1,000 nurses. Yeah, so this one entire 1,000 nurses. Okay, now from the 10,000 nurses, we are not going crazy, whereby we are not distributing 1,000 questionnaires to 1,000 nurses. No, we need to have a sample. Select the sampling frame. Let's say, this one I repeat again. Population, let's say 1,000 workers. From 1,000 workers, the sampling frame, that means it depends on your specific target. Because in the hospital, we have doctors, we have nurses, we have general medical assistant, we have administration, and so on. Let's say the sampling frame for you focus specifically on nurses. Yeah, again, population is about total number of workers there, 1,000. Let's say you determine that you have 700 nurses in hospital Shah Alam. That means 300 are non-workers. Non-nurses. That means you cannot simply give the questionnaire to other than nurses. So you determine that the total number of nurses are 700. From 700, you determine the sample. That means some numbers that can represent the 700. For example, later on you will do the calculation. You found out that you only have to you have to give the questionnaire to 200. That means the 200 people will represent 700, 200 nurses will represent 700 nurses in the hospital. That is enough to give a response. Not giving a 700 questionnaires to 700 nurses. This is the sample. That means the sample that will represent the sampling frame. And this individual circle here is related to individual cases. That means inside here are 200. This one is 700. And the larger number are 1,000. So that means, you need to follow the step. That means the population, which is hospital Shah Alam. That means target population 1,000. The sampling frame is nurses. The sampling technique will be discussed later. How do you select this 200? Determine your sample size, in this case 200. This one 700. Collect the data and then assess the response rate. Yeah. So sampling technique will help you to generalize your findings later. Now, we have these two types of sampling techniques. Number one, probability sampling. Number two is non-probability sampling. So we will see one by one, the probability and non-probability sampling. Okay, so this is a probability sampling. That means chances. We're talking about chances to get selected. So probability sampling means that everybody will get a chance to get selected. We have 4 types of probability sampling. Number one, simple random sampling. I give you in diagram so you can make it easily. Let's say, for example, you have 30 workers here. We have chef, we have teacher, we have musicians, and the 30 different types of workers here. For simple random sampling, you just simply pick any guy from it. That is a simple random sampling. Yeah, you can take musician, you can take bartender, waiter, you can take name sailors, you can take artists, and the list goes on. So from that 30 workers, yeah, so you can select anybody, yeah, which have an equal chance to it. Okay, that is number one. Number two is systematic sampling, meaning that you have a system there. Yeah, let's say for example, this is people number one, people number two, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 until 30. And then systematic means that you select the, let's say for example, yeah, you select the every seconds of 5. That means, for example, in this case, yeah, people number 2, people number 7, people number 12, people number 17, people number 22, people number 13. That means you select the system. That means you are selecting row number 2, for example. Yeah. You can also select row number 4. Yeah, it depends on you. You decide when what is the best system that you want to go for, systematic sampling. Okay, number 3 is a stratified sampling. That means you take sample from different clusters. Sorry, this is one. Okay, one person from yellow, one person from black, one person from this one person from not 1%. That means it's based on the ratio. Yeah. Why this one represent a small pie? Because there is only 3 people. So that means probably only one. Let's say because this is the largest, not the largest, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. This one is 12. Then that means the portion of this one is bigger than the portion of this one. So you select larger than this one. Let's say you select 5. That means you select 4, for example. And this one you select 2. That means the selection of number of people for the different class is based on the ratio. The larger the number of ratio is, the number of representative will be higher based on the percentage. Okay, and the last one is a cluster sampling. That means you select the cluster, they select the people based on the sampling. This one is normally for families. But yes? Sorry? Okay. So for cluster sampling, normally is families lah. Yeah, that means they will select family number 1, family number 4, family number 6. Yeah, or maybe the group number 1 or group number 3. So they're selecting the group as a sample. So that is how you are choosing the probability sampling is done. That is the first one. Number 2 is non-probability sampling. That means here we're talking about no chance. No chance, that means for those who are for those who selected, they are qualified, totally qualified. That means for non-probability sampling, only qualified person can be selected. Yeah. Okay. So we have a certain type of non-probability sampling. Number 1 is a snowball sample. Snowball sample is normally some kind like MLM way of doing it. That means person number 1 recommend person number 2, and then person number 3, and then person number 3 will select his friend. Yeah. And then this one, the blue one, they select the blue one. Yeah, so snowball sample is like that. It's more on multi-layer sampling. But for quota sample, meaning that apart from the population that you have, you only select based on the quota. For example, the quota, let's say you only want people that age 40 and above. So that means whichever that 40, 39 and below is not qualified to be the sample. Or another example is you want your sample that have income more than 5,000. So for those who income less than 4,999 ringgit is not qualified to be the respondent. So that is a quota sample. That means we need a people who are qualified based on the criteria that you are going for. For convenience sampling, you are not going to them. They are going to you. And then you will monitor and to see whether they are qualified or not. Yeah, if they are willingly come to you and to become a respondent and you feel that they are not qualified, so you can eliminate them. But if you feel that the person come to you, they want to respond to the questionnaire, you see that they are qualified, then you can take them as a sample. That is a convenience sample. The last one is judgment sample. Judgment sample is based on your judgment. That means you are the one who assess these people. Are they qualified or not? For example, in this class, let's say I'm doing a judgment sample. Normally, in my research, I'm doing a judgmental propositive sample. Yeah? Let's say I have 22 students here. I have Anis Sabrina, I have Chin Yin Leng, yeah, I have Kalai Vanis, and then the list goes on, Munazila, and so on. Yeah. So I want to look for those who are qualified to be my respondent. Let's say I'm looking at that. I judge that, okay, let's say Navid is good person, yeah, a good looking guy, and I want her to become I want him to become my respondent. Okay, so I can take her. I can take him because he is based on my judgment, he is good. Or let's say I want to choose Nur Hamizah Nasrin, for example, because I known her for so long, and he is quite responsive when it comes to questionnaire. So I select her because it based on my judgment. Okay. Okay, but before I continue, I repeat again. Who is this iPhone guy? This one. Because here, if you just put your name as iPhone unverified, I cannot verify your attendance. Sorry to say. So what I'm suggest to you is to rename. Rename this your profile. Yeah, because I don't know who is iPhone guy. Even though I remove, he's still coming in. Okay. Sample size. Okay. Before that, any question? Before I proceed?
No, doctor. Good.
Good, Okay. Okay, determine the sample size. Normally, I will use Craigie and Morgan table 1970. But if you are so advanced, you can use G-Power software. You can download and then you can look at YouTube to see how G-Power works. So this is G-Power. Okay. If you use the software, let's say you put this kind of statistic if you have, and then this is the number of sample. But let's say if you choose Craigie or this one if you choose Craigie and Morgan table, for example, I'm staying in Bandar Sarjana Putra, for example, and I found out that there are 20,000 residents are there, 20,000 people staying in Bandar Sarjana Putra. So therefore, my sample will be 377. Okay, all right. So I give you another example. I give you another example. Let's say if you work in logistic companies and you found out that there are 1,500 employees. So therefore, the sample size will be 306 minimum. You cannot be lower than that. It is based on the sample. Okay. Anybody that need my help to determine the sample size, the respondent? Okay, please let me know right now.
Doctor, sorry. So,
Okay.
which means this software will help to identify the minimum number of sample. Is that what you're saying?
Yes, correct. That is if you use the G-Power, but the G-Power normally for PhD level actually. But the basic for you is using this table might be enough. Okay, let me twist your question. What is your population? That means are you targeting which community or which company in your research work?
It's a corporate organization in Malaysia, in hiring people with disability.
Any specific companies?
Yeah, I'm thinking of
Okay.
SK. Yeah.
Yeah, because you know why? Because if you are saying corporate organization in Malaysia is still general, so you need to target specifically which company. Okay, may I know your DV? What is your DV?
I don't know, doctor. Sorry, I can't answer you right now.
By right, this week you should have the framework actually. So I'm not
Yeah,
sure. Are you still new student, right? Not new student.
no, doctor. I just start.
Because at this is already week 7, week 8. By right, you should have a framework, IV and DVs. Otherwise, you will not able to determine this. But it's okay. You can rework later on. Okay, no worries. Another example. Let's say MSU staff. Let's say MSU staff. MSU staff. Let's say currently they have 1,100 staff. Therefore, the respondent will be 285, so to speak. And let's say you want to analyze kampung, for example, village, and then you found out that there is 150 villages in the specific area. So therefore, the respondent will be 108 minimum. Okay. So that means 108 people will represent 150. 285 people will represent 1,100. 370 people will represent 10,000 people. And this is the ultimate number of sampling, 384. If the population are 1 million. Okay, so the worst came to worst. Normally, when I do my research work, normally I just take 384 responses and more. Not only is very good. What I can say to you is the more data that you collected, there is a chance of the result significant will be high. Because if you just take only 10, only 36, only 63, I'm afraid that the result might not be significant enough as far as your research is concerned. So you need to the more data that you have, the better it will be. Okay, now one tool or one weapon that you must have before developing a questionnaire is a conceptual framework. Without conceptual framework, without IV, without DV, there is no way or no chance for you to do the questionnaire, because normally the statements are based on the framework that you have. So that's why for those who don't have the conceptual framework, don't have IV and DVs, IVs and DV, better you solve it quickly. Because without that, it will be very, very difficult for you to do the questionnaire, and then you will delay collecting the data, and then you will delay in run the analysis, and definitely you will have delay in completing your project. So the conceptual framework, once you're done with conceptual framework, is you are done 40% of your work already. Never mind about the literature review. Literature review can be done later. But the must thing that you have to have, the must thing that you should do is settle up with your conceptual framework. Okay, so this is the example of conceptual framework I took from this paper. The drivers of generative AI adoption in higher education. So with this one, here I have the attitude, subjective norm, perceived behavior control, strengths, benefit, weakness, and risk, intention to use Gen AI and actual use of Gen AI. So this is the example of my framework. Without this framework, you are not able to do the questionnaire. Now, operational definition. Like I said earlier, questionnaire for nurses and questionnaire for police are not same, even though you have a same topic. Because the statements for the nurse and the statement for police are different, even though you are sharing the same variable. So you need to have a detailed operational definition. It's a precise and detailed specification on how a concept or variable will be measured to the survey questions, and definitely involve the procedure for measuring the variable so it can be measured and observed, quantified in an objective and consistent manner. And this is for you to help to intended theoretical construct. So let me show you how operational definition play a major part in this questionnaire. Let's have a look at this one. The same topic, adoption of AI. This is for nurses. This is for policemen. Okay, this is the variable. This is your DV, and this is your IV. Let's say this is your IV. You have attitude, subjective norm, and perceived behavior control as IVs, independent variables, and your adoption of AI as a DV. Okay, so if you look here, let's say one of the measurement is attitude. The attitude for nurses are different from attitude for policemen. Let's have a look here. This is an attitude for nurses which referring to clinical practice. But for policemen, it's more on law enforcement activities. So they have a different perspective. So you cannot generalize or you cannot main pukul rata lah kita panggil. Jangan tak boleh macam tu. We cannot make it too standardized because nurses and policemen are two different classes. For subjective norm, Addison, again, definition of nurses is more on clinical practice, and for policemen is more on law enforcement activities, but the meaning are same. Influenced by peers and colleagues, influence in peer and colleague. Yeah, okay, the same meaning, but is more on the specific areas. And for perceived behavior control, confidence in their ability to adopt. Same meaning, ability, but for nurses, it's more on clinical practices, but for policemen, it's more on law enforcement activities. But for adoption of AI, they having a same meaning, utilize and integrate AI. Utilize and integrate AI, but nurses are more on clinical practice, policemen are more on law enforcement activities. So you need to be super careful in this one, because I see a few cases, whereby let's say the target respondents are manufacturing, but somehow the questionnaire is for logistic, let's say. So that's two totally different. So you need to do a operational definition. This is normally based on your literature review. For example, this is the DV and the rest are IVs. So commitment have their own definition, leadership, they have own definition, management support, authority, and the rest goes on. They have a different definitions. Okay, so from that you can generate the questionnaire from the operational definitions. Basic sections in the questionnaire. Normally, questionnaires have two sections. If you want to add some more, it is up to you. The two sections are required because to perform descriptive and inferential analysis. Normally, for section A, we put demographic or profiling of the respondents. Section B, we put Likert scale statement because these are the one who measured DV and IVs. But for section A, is more on the respondents profiling. Okay, normally in section A, demographic or profiling, the basic questions are age, gender, education level, or other demographic questions that you want to ask. But please be careful, especially for you, for corporate. For corporate, normally we didn't ask about age and gender normally. So we will look at that means if you analyze the corporate, that means for employees, yes. I'm talking about the questionnaire that you give to company A, company B, company C. Normally, we didn't ask those things. So you need to ask somebody to check whether the questionnaire, the question for demography are appropriate to the particular person or not. However, try to ensure that demographic questions are straightforward and not sensitive or disclosure information. Some information are quite sensitive. Please do not ask. For example, phone number, please do not ask the phone number. Salaries, maybe some respondents feel sensitive about this one. They don't want to answer on the salaries. ID numbers, and the list goes on. So you need to check the sensitivity of the information as well. So these are the example of the section A. Section A, we have the question gender, either male or female. The age, these are the range of age. But please be careful, the range of a range must be same range. That means this one cannot be 5 years, this cannot be gap 10 years, this one cannot be gap 2 years. The consistency need to be there. The consistency need to be there. In this case, like 10 years, 10 years, 10 years, then that is okay. Except for this one, 18. Educational level, you can ask also, doctorate, masters, and the list goes on. Field of studies, and then participant countries, and then the list goes on. Yeah, so you can have a look at some papers, yeah, that some papers provide the questionnaire, some papers does not provide the questionnaire. We will talk about that later. Number 2 is Likert scale statements. Okay, for Likert scale statements, yeah, is to measure opinions, attitudes, or behavior in the quantitative way. That means by numbers, yeah. Is provide a standardized way for survey respondent to express an intensity. Intensity means that how highly you rate that, how low you rate that. Yeah, attitudes, feeling. Yeah, if let's say you agree, how highly you agree. If you disagree, how highly you disagree. Yeah, is it low level or is it high level? Is it a medium level? So you need to look at the intensity. Yeah, the intensity can go to two different directions, either disagree or agree. So it's better to divide section B into numerous subsections just for the purpose of references or statement related to variable. Let's say you have this one. So that means, yeah, this is for section B. Yeah? Let's say section B. You have this one B1, section B2, section B3, and the last one section B4. Because yeah, there are some statements. For example, you have 4 statements from B1, 4 statements from B2, 5 statements from B3, and then 5 statements from B4. Yeah, so you must have statements, yeah, from each section. So if you segregate by the section, it will be very, very good. Yeah, easy for you to analyze and clean the data. Okay, so this is the Likert scale response here. Normally, yes, students tend to use 5 points. That means this one. Strongly disagree. If you answer is strongly disagree, answer number 1. If you disagree, response number 2. That means from low level to high level. If 3 is neutral, number 4 is agree, number 5 strongly agree. During my PhD days, I like to use 7. Because 7 is more accurate than 5. That means we want to see the intensity of the answer very, very detailed. Yeah? But if you want to choose 5, no worries, you can do that, no problem. Okay, you can do that, no problem. If you want to go for 5 points, and normally we do use 5 points, that will be very, very good. Yeah, but please do not use 2 points. 2 points means either yes or no. Yeah, we cannot have that. Yeah, okay. It's not the way. It's like 50-50 answer. It's not like that. So 5 points is more recommended for me. Yeah. So this is the example of 7-point Likert scale. So these are the statements. And the range are from strongly disagree to strongly agree. Never mind about 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 because you are the only one who understood. If you are more on strongly disagree, it's either 3, 2, or 1, something like that. So these are the statements. And then yeah, the respondent's job is to give a rating between strongly agree to strongly disagree. And later on, I will teach you on how to do the statements. Yeah, because there are some rule of thumb that you can do or you cannot do. Okay, to develop a questionnaire, there are 2 types, which is adopt strategy and adapt strategy. Okay, so let's see the difference between adopt strategy and adapt strategy. For adopt strategy, you create by yourself without any references from any paper. So because this is for, okay, why adopt is used? Because some of you do all your research, but you do not have, you have a paper as a reference, but the paper does not give you the questionnaire. So you force, they force you to create the statements by your own. Okay. So this is adopt. But for those who already have the questionnaire, for those who already have the paper and that paper gives you the questionnaire, you can adapt. Adapt means that you adjust or modify based on the idea that given to you. Okay, now let me show you one of the papers here. Yeah, this is the one of my students' paper. Not this paper. That means she's working in this one. The impact on digital financial literacy on financial behavior, customer perspective. And as you can see here, this one is great. This one using a questionnaire. So you know this is a questionnaire. and check the paper to see if there is a questionnaire or not. Okay, you check the framework. Okay, yes, this is the framework. Yeah, they have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 IVs, and this one only 1 DVs, but inside 1 DV they have one question from this one question from this one. Yeah, and this is the single financial behavior as 1 DVs. Yeah, check down there. Okay, so this is the questionnaire. Yeah, gender, age, job category, monthly income. Yeah. And then the point down a little bit. These are the questionnaire. As you can see, this is a Likert statements questionnaire. So you have this the statements, yeah. And then if you feel that you want to take this idea and then make it by your own, we call this as a adapt. Okay, adapt means that you have this questionnaire and then you adapt based on your study. But let's say if the paper you don't have any questionnaire at all, you need to make it from scratch. There is adopt. Yeah, adopt means that to take your own. Yeah, that means you create your own statements. Yeah, I will show you later on how to do that. Okay, so this one, she's quite lucky, because she has this questionnaires. Yeah, so it's easy for her. For example, she has 6 statements here. But not necessary to take 6. She might just take 4 or 5 statements only, eliminate the unnecessary ones. And also, the adapt here is, let's say, the demographic. You can make adjustment, you can add some of the questions, let's say the demographic. Demographic, they have 4 questions. You can add 1 or 2 questions if you want to. But this one, monthly income, because this one is measured by Kuwaiti dinar, because this question is distributed to Kuwaiti people. So if you choose Malaysia, you cannot put KD because KD is for Kuwait dinar. So you need to adjust the numbers, Malaysia ringgit. And one of the things is Malaysia ringgit, Malaysia currency and Kuwait dinar is quite different values. So you need to adjust a little bit. Yeah. And maybe you need to check the job category. That means the education. I'm not sure if the Kuwait has the same with Malaysia. You need to check. And then the range of age and the list goes on. So you can use this questionnaire and make it by yours. No problem. Yeah, so this is how you can take that. Yeah. In other words, you see here, adopt is copy and paste questionnaire statements from the original. Oh, sorry, terbalik. Yang adapt ni adalah create sendiri. Adopt ni is more on copy and paste. Terbalik, sorry. To take up and make one's own. That means adopt. The one that from article is more on adopt. Adapt means that you create based on the LR. So in other words, adopt is copy and paste questionnaire statements from the original theory. Adapt means adjust and modify from original theory based on the operational definition and scope of the study. Okay, so that is how you. Methods in collecting the data, questionnaires. Normally, this one through Google Form, one of the things. Google Form. Dulu tak ada Google Form, kita bagi email. Tapi email tu depends on the respondents, whether they are responding or not. Checking reliability and validity to ensure that the statements are in consistency and accurately measured. What is tend to measure. Statements kena firm, tak boleh ada macam atas pagar, cannot be, Developing high quality questionnaire with acceptable reliability and validity will produce meaningful and trustworthy results. So if your statement is strong, that is the result will be later on potential to be good also. What happens if reliability and validity is poor and acceptable? Reliability and validity, how do we know that is based on the pilot study? Once you develop the statements, the questionnaire set, Yeah, so you collect from 10 to 30 people and then you just run to see if the statements are reliable or not. So if your validity and reliability is very, very poor, that means result dia rendah sangat. And that means the result is very, very low, poor. So there will be implication this one, yeah, unreliable result. Result will be inconsistent across the study, lack of validity, flawed research. That means the research may be damaged, inability to generalize, and there will be ethical issues. So more on negative ways, yeah, on if your reliability and validity is not strong enough. Okay, I take a break. Yeah, if you have, do you have any question so far? Okay, no question. If you have no questions, yeah, I want to take a 10 minutes break. Okay, and then after that, yeah, I will continue on the some of the example of the statements that are not allowable in the questionnaire. Yeah. So we'll see you again in 10 minutes. Okay. Alright. Okay, apologies for the delay. Sekejap ya. Okay, let's have a look at this part. And this is do's and don'ts in questionnaire. Common mistake that normally not only researcher but also students in developing the questionnaire. Number one is the statement leading, not misleading, but leading. That means it's more on the bias statement. For example, our company excellent training programs are the reason for your high job satisfaction. That means the statements is some kind like the researcher wants you to answer in your what they want. That means in the good way. So that means avoid the word our and your in this one. So improve example, the training programs provided by the company. The company, not your company. The company, that means we don't know which company it is. So that means different people have the different perspective, contribute to job satisfaction. Yeah, so that means avoid on leading statements, in this one. Number two, double barrel statements. Okay, this is a common also because there are two statements in one statement, two in one. So the department, HR department is helpful and our compensation packages are fair. Ni pun memang dah salah jugalah. HR department is helpful, compensation packages are fair. That means two different aspects. Satu helpful, satu lagi compensation fair. So which one? What happens if the respondents say they agree with this one but not agree with that one? Kalau both okay lah, tapi or either one. Yang ni tak ada, yang ni dia tak agree, yang ni dia agree. It cannot be atas pagar, dia tak boleh atas pagar. Dia kena ada one single stand firm questionnaire. Improve example by separating them. That means the statement number one, the HR department is helpful. Another statement is the compensation packages are fair. So kena asingkan dua lah. We have to separate both. You cannot have a two. Another example of double barrel is I love chicken and beef. So we don't know which one are you like. Are you like chicken or are you like beef or are you like either one or are you dislike both? So tak boleh macam tu. They have to separate it. I love chicken, I love beef. So that is avoid double barrel in this case. Jangan buat dua. Bias statements. For example, because definitive, you have not been unfairly treated by your manager. Bias statements, because definitive. For improve example, make it not bias. I feel. Saya merasakan. Maknanya dia tak adalah rasa terlalu firm sangat. I feel that my manager treats me fairly. So that is a bias statement. Maksudnya you tak suka manager tu. Statements tu seolah-olah macam you hasut dia, tak suka manager tu. And then you just bagi tahu dalam bentuk perception lah. I feel that manager treats me fairly. Number four, ambiguous statements or incomplete statements. Ada juga, there are some points whereby the statements are not completed. The company provide adequate support. Problem dia, what support? Support apa? What kind of support? It's too general. This statement is quite general and incomplete because yes, adequate support is there, but what kind of support? You need to specify a little bit of what kind of support. Improve example, make it not biased. The company provide adequate emotional support. The company provides adequate technical support. So need to specify a little bit what kind of support that he meant. So it's more clear. Too complex and long statements. There are certain statements which is too long. And that means respondents are too tired to read. So the solution is either you shorten it or another solution is to separate it by two. So this is the one. I don't want to read this one because it is too long. I don't want to answer on that because it's too long. And this is the short version of it. So it's very easy for you to answer. The object has improved overall my job satisfaction. So shorten it. Negative wording. If possible, make the questions or statements all in the positive direction. The HR department should not ignore employee concerns. Improve example, make it positive wording. The HR department addresses employee concerns effectively. So you convert from negative to positive statements. Assumptive statements. Ni andaian. Yeah? That means, for example, leading to either yes or no. You enjoy the new flexible working hours policy. Yeah, that means the possibility is either yes or no, but to improve example, make it perceived statements. That means the feelings, the new flexible working hours policy meets my needs, because he feel that the flexible working hours, yes, maybe cater his needs, fulfill the requirements and so on. So yeah, try not to make the statements either leading to yes or no. Statements with jargon. Yang ni pun satu. Ya. Example, the company's HCM strategy. Some respondent does not understand what HCM means. Or let's say ECE. ECE means early childhood education. So respondent doesn't know what ECE means. So you need to make sure that do not include jargon in the statement. So the company's strategy support my professional development. So that's enough. The company strategy. So the company's human resource strategy. So to be specific a little bit, that can be done, but please do not put the abbreviation or jargon, because you are the only one who understand, but the rest of the respondents are not. Okay, incorporating AI prompt. Okay, this is the bonus chapter that I want to share with you. Before you want to go prompt in AI platform, you must have topic, scope of the study, conceptual framework, and list of variable, type of skills, condition on the statement in the questionnaire. This is for adapt. Okay, kalau adopt, that means you have the questionnaire already from the paper. Okay, so this is the example, adoption in AI recruitment, and I have this variable. So I have this DV, and then these are IVs, and this is other moderating variables. Okay. Theory applied, UT, and AMO. The topic, adoption of AI recruitment among Malaysian employers. Okay, from ChatGPT. This one. Topic and scope. My dependent variable is blah 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 blah. Basically my topic. This one you can study a little bit, because I want to try example using yours. So this is the outcome of the AI. Okay, so let's look here. These are quite simple version. Okay, you may use straight away, but I recommend you to few things before proceed with the questionnaire. Check all the statements. Sometimes AI will give you wrong statements. Amend if the sound is not right. Ask proofreaders or expert to check the statement. Do not necessary to use all 5 statements for each variable. You may delete if you are necessary. Okay, now let me illustrate to you. This one is for those who don't have questionnaire. Okay, I need the one example from your work. Can you list down? Okay, Hasnim has asking, how about my target? Is my school 30 teacher, is it enough? Hasnim, this is only one school, right?
Yes, Doctor.
Oh, okay, 30. So if 30, means that the sample will be, if the 30 is only the total of number of teachers, right?
Yes, Doctor.
Okay, so if 30 means that 28 need to answer. If you look at this Craigie and Morgan table, that means 20 need to answer. Okay, you just tell that you have only 30 teachers, then 28 will be the respondent. Okay, understand?
Okay, Doctor, thank you.
Okay,
Doctor,
welcome.
thank you.
All right. So now, I need one example. That's what is your DV and IV. So I will show you on how to do. Okay, can you anyone, one or two of you give the example of your work? What is the DV and IVs? What is your IV and DV and IVs? Okay. So with that, I will use your example to do the questionnaire in Google Form later, ChatGPT and also Google Form. Okay, I can wait, no problem. If you do not have example, I will use my own example. Yeah. Okay. Kala, you may write down in the chat box so people can see. Okay, Azlina, the employment rate, is it your DV or IV? Sebab itu apa?
Sorry, doctor. I think it's DV. I think it's my DV.
Okay, the problem with employment rate, the word rate, rate means that there is the data rate that you need to use, which is not suitable for the questionnaire sebenarnya. Yeah, employment rate. Betul. So sometimes there are certain variable that not match with the questionnaire punya data lah. Tak apalah, itu nanti kita tengok kemudian ya.
Okay.
Kemudian. Kalau ni thinking style, IV thinking style, DV knowledge sharing behavior. Hasnim, how many thinking style that you have in your IVs? Takkan satu, bukan satu je kan? It's not one, right? Hasnim, ada?
Tiga, doktor.
List down. Tiga tu.
Judicial thinking style.
Tulis kat chat.
Oh, sorry. Okay.
Tulis kat chat. So biar let them see. Okay, thank you, Kalai. Kalai, this one, small hotel success. Okay, your sample is employee or customer? Just asking.
Customer.
Customer, so
Yeah.
Kalai focusing on customer, right? Okay, I'm using Kalai's example for this one. Let's say this is the DV, small hotel success, and then physique, personality, culture, relationship, reflection, and image. Okay, now let me demonstrate to you. This is the case of, let's say, you don't have a questionnaire at all. I just so this is the first one. Okay. My DV. The DV is I'm using Kalai's example, small hotel success. My IVs are Okay, so this is how I run this one. Okay, this is my DV, small hotel success. My IVs are physics, personality, culture, relationship, reflection, and self-image. So the unit of analysis is a customer. Definitely the sample is the customer. So please create a 5 Likert scale statements for each variable. Make sure it's a straightforward and not double barrel. So let's check. See the DV. Yeah, I'm satisfied with my overall experience. I would recommend consider this hotel. Okay, you see physics, yeah, hotel physics, yeah. See, okay, Kalai, can you see this one?
Yes, doctor, can see.
More easier, right? So this is the case if you do not have questionnaire at all, yeah. Relationship, okay, respect, and then the reflections, yeah. Okay. You may snap this picture as a prompt, no problem. If you want to snap this picture, and then you may adopt, based on your DV and IV, and then the unit of analysis and who is the sample. Okay, you may snap this picture, no problem. If you want to, I will also plus please check also, if some of the questionnaire is doubtful, ataupun susah nak faham ke, and then you may change, no problem. This is just a suggested, suggested. Okay, that is number one. Kalai already feeling good, right? This one.
Yeah, yes, doctor.
Okay, so you may snap this one and then you may run by your own. Okay, now let me try another example for this Christina. Gen Z adoption of Islamic banking product in Malaysia, the meditating role of awareness. Okay, so basically for Christina, the sample will be customer or banks or what? Siapa sample you?
Students, Gen Z students kat university.
Gen Z, okay. Gen Z ni ramai tau kat Malaysia ni, so nak kena
Yeah, was planning to
cross-check
do
juga.
for MSU MSU Gen umur.
Okay lah.
But
MSU
kena
pun.
fikir balik, kena ni balik, refer dengan supervisor balik.
Boleh, tapi itulah macam saya tak galakkan sangat MSU student sebab sampel dia tak berkembang macam itu. Okay, tak apa, never mind. Let me try yours, Okay. The DV is adoption of Islamic banking. The IVs are service quality. Mediating. Okay, Christina nampak this one?
Nampak?
Okay, so just now. See, service quality. social influence, perception, awareness as a mediating. Okay, right. So this is how you run. Okay, now the rest are okay. The rest you may try, but okay. I'm commenting on your IVDV lah, yeah. Okay, I look at Muammir's one. Muammir, you have 3 DVs, satisfaction, brand awareness, and customer loyalty. Is it correct, Muammir? Muammir Shah?
Yes, Doctor.
Wow, 3 DVs dah macam PhD level. Normally kita pakai 1 DV cukup lah.
Oh, sebab saya fikir like customer satisfaction tu dia akan link back to brand awareness dengan customer loyalty.
Oh, kalau macam tu brand awareness dengan customer loyalty kat IV lah. Itu maksud dia. Kalau you cakap macam tu, brand awareness and customer loyalty patah ke IV balik lah. Itu maksudnya.
Macam mana sebab saya ada 5 IV and then my mediating is customer engagement. So the
brand tu yang dekat IV nombor 4 tu, ambil salah satu. You nak brand image ke awareness? Pilih salah satu. You choose one.
Okay.
Customer loyalty tu, you relate dengan yang mana? Loyalty ni, biasanya kalau loyalty ni, saya tak adalah rasa nak adapt sangat customer loyalty ni. Tapi dia macam ni, kalau DVU customer satisfaction, fine lah bagi saya. Cuma brand awareness ni, you boleh replace brand image.
Okay.
Ya, customer loyalty ni, kalau you nak tambah sebagai IV ke-6 pun boleh, ataupun you replace salah satu IV. Boleh. Tak ada masalah. Tapi kalau 3 DV tu macam terlalu kompleks lah pula you punya framework nanti. Bermakna kan you kena ada 3 analisis tau. Satu analisis on customer satisfaction, satu untuk 3 set. Maksud I 3 set. Brand awareness and loyalty. Jenuh. Maknanya you ada 3 kerja. 3 you punya work jadi triple. Sebab you nak kena cover customer satisfaction. Lepas tu you nak kena cover brand awareness, you nak kena cover customer loyalty. Dia dia beban you dekat tiga kerja ni. So untuk nak selamat lah ya, 1 DV cukup. Ya, MV tak ada masalah. MV is fine sebab MV dia kita nak tengok lah sama ada ni ke tidak kan. Tapi itulah DV pilih satu je kalau boleh.
So kira saya get rid the 2 DV tu je lah.
Betul. Adjust dekat mana-mana IV lah
Okay, boleh. Alright. Terima kasih.
Okay, sama. Okay, for Chim Ying Leng Chim Ying Leng. Okay, so DV is quality of life for the elderly, investigating the effectiveness. Okay, if you are saying effectiveness of AI, right? The title is Patino AI, but somehow your DV is quality of life. So which one? Are you measuring effectiveness of AI or quality of life?
Effectiveness in terms of quality of life.
In terms of quality of life. So that means the topic should be the investigating the quality of life of the elderly Okay, lagi satu, one more thing is wow, your IV is quite mana cakap ya. Okay, let me go through your IV first. Type of AI, normally we are not type of AI is normally descriptive not more on legal scale because type of AI means that you are looking of what kind of type of AI that you have because I'm not expert in AI.
There are several types on the system, right? So what I read from the literature review.
Okay, but normally type of AI we are not put in the Likert scale statement. Section B, we are put in the descriptive statistic only. Yeah, and ethical standards and then problems. Wow, number 3 is quite general also. Problems faced by elderly, caregivers, and AI developers. That means like you have 3 in 1. Elderly 1, caregivers 1, AI developers 1. So quite general juga. I think to solve this problem, we need to look at one paper. We need to look at one paper that either dia macam ni. to solve your problem, need to find one paper yang pernah buat work ni on this one using questionnaire. Are they measuring on quality of life or are they measuring on effectiveness of AI? To concern saya, because currently if I look at that, it's like that you have two different dependent variable, which is effectiveness of AI one thing, quality of life of the elderly is also one thing. Do DM me lah later on I will try my best to solve this problem.
Can. But doctor, from what the literature review I did on this topic, right, mostly is
Okay.
qualitative analysis. So it's like direct interview.
Direct. Okay, so we need to find the paper that use questionnaire. That's better.
Oh, okay. I will DM you shortly.
Because qualitative, it's like this. To play a simple game, we need to have one paper as a guide that already work on that particular topic. So you can mirroring on their work.
Okay, maybe I
lagi
DM you
senang.
for further discussion on this lah. Because
Boleh.
I'm stuck already on this topic.
No problem. No
Yeah.
problem. Because I'm not sure whether you do you attend my last previous class or not?
Yeah. I watched already and
Yes.
attended as well.
From that, I already give you on how to identify the DBs and then find the relevant papers. Yeah, on that. So you can try again. But if not, you can ask for my consultation. No problem. I will do that.
Oh,
Yeah.
okay. Yeah.
Okay, thank you. Later on, for Tom Ming Ji, this one is okay. Willingness of consumer in adapt in AI in banking. Okay, that's fine. IV, customer trust, perceived risk. Okay, this one is like double barrel. Tom Ming Ji, customer trust and awareness are two different things. Which one? Are you looking for trust or awareness?
Hi, Doctor. Towards the trust of customer against AI.
So you need to decide. That means you cannot have two double variable in one variable.
I see.
Customer
Understand.
trust and awareness, you need to decide which one. Are you looking for trust or are you looking for awareness? Same goes to number 2, perceived risk and privacy concern. So which one that you focusing on? Are you focusing on risk or privacy concern? You cannot simply put two variables in one variable. And also regulatory
The third
and
one also the same.
yes, number 3 also same thing. The word and, try to avoid the word and as a variable. But DV is good. Willingness of consumer to adapt to AI in banking, DV is very good, but the rest of 3 IBs you need to decide later on. Okay, that's so. Okay, Salahuddin. Okay, design, production. Okay, so for Salahuddin, perception or interpretation of batik tradition, which one? Are you looking for perception or interpretation? I think perception is a better word. Salahuddin? Is it Salahuddin here? No? But if not, I will skip to someone else. My mic is not okay. I will ask the reply by chat. Okay. Never mind. Okay, that one later on. Azina. Doctor, then look at I have to revisit the IV and DV. In this case, it will impact the assignment we submit for that one. Yeah. It's normal. That means you need to, for assignment 2, you need to take from assignment 1, revamp a little bit, make it better, and make it assignment 2 better. This is a same case happen on undergraduate. Undergraduate also having the same problem. They have assignment 1, article review, and then the assignment 2, they do a proposal. So some of my students under me, because they submitted earlier, they submitted earlier, and then they didn't see for the supervisor to check and so on, tended to make a mistake. And what I said to them is, you rework back on your assignment 1 to be done on assignment 2, because assignment 2 is on proposal. So there is no issue. Of course, it's an impact, but impact in the good way. That means your assignment 2 will be a better and revised version. Assignment 2 will be better in terms of revised version. Azlina, boleh ke? Azlina tak ada. Tak ada.
Yeah, Doctor, thank you so much.
Tu maksud saya macam ni, Azlina.
Hmm.
Assignment 1 yang you dah buat tu,
Yes.
okay, dah lepas tak ada masalah. when you do assignment 2, that means a continuation from assignment 1, that means
Hmm.
you akan hantar assignment 2 tu dalam better and revised version.
Noted. So, Doctor, you will not be going back to the previous submission and making sure that it's linking
Previous
between the
submission is
two.
previous submission lah. Dah lepas tak ada
Okay,
masalah.
okay,
What I
okay.
mean is assignment 2 is a different thing. Dia punya evaluation pun berbeza dengan yang assignment 1. Assignment 1 tak apalah, you dah hantar, tak ada masalah. Cuma let me tell you, previous case sebelum ni, dia tak ada, dia buat assignment 1, okay fine. Tapi kadang-kadang saya ada minta juga student untuk okay, assignment 1 you belum hantar lagi, nak bagi I nak tengok. Kalau ada salah, nanti beritahu.
Right, okay.
Tapi dah hantar tak apa, tak ada masalah. Assignment 2 lah.
Alright, thank you, Doctor.
You're welcome. Okay, now saya nak terus. I want to go straight into the. Okay, I will use this one, this example, and let me go through this Google form. Okay, so this is a Google form. Let's say I'm using mine. Okay, so to find Google form is easy. Just click the Google homepage, click Google Apps, and then click this one. Scroll down there and then click Forms. And this is the Google Forms that I believe everybody should have, because you have a Google account. So you must have a Google form. To create a new form, simply click blank form. Just click. Because you develop a new type of questions, set question, and then you need to you can set the theme. Yeah, you can set the color that you want to go for. Let's say you are going for green color or anything. Yeah, you can choose. Okay, so you put the title, untitled form. Yeah, the title. Yeah, let me check the. You should put the full title. Yeah. Kat mana tadi? Let's say this one, I'm using Kistinas. Okay. So this is the one. So this is the introduction section. So you just put here, in this case, okay, as just put here the word of greetings. So this is how you drafting the introduction first. And then you just to seek your valuable cooperation. This is just like, you can use ChatGPT also to do this. Yeah, no problem. Confidential. Okay. Should you have okay, so this is the first one. Okay, now if you want to go for the next page, normally we click this one, add section. Okay, add sections means that, okay, this is a section 1 of 2. That means there is a first page. The title form is automatically from here. You already done that. Okay, so after section 1, continue to the next section. The section 2 is normally for demographic section. So you just put demographic section, section A. Okay, so then you just give an instruction. Please take the appropriate response related to your let's say. Okay, for example, for section A, normally the question is, let's say, gender, let's say. Okay, if you want to have only one answer, this is the multiple choice. So, male, and then this one, female. Okay, and then I put required. Required means that everybody has to answer. Okay, and then the second question is just add question because you have this one, male and female. You can choose multiple choice, and then you can choose, sorry, the question will be, you can put this one, okay. Let's say age. Age. Put as a multiple choice. Let's say 18 to 30 years. Just click enter, 31 to 40 years. Let's say this is the second question. And then the next question will be, and then the rest of it you will complete. The rest, I forget. Just click required. That means they have to answer. Okay, now I want to, this one you can create by your own. Because after this, I will go for section 1, section B. This is section A, right? Okay, so this is section B1. Okay, B1 means that, let's say you want to go for, normally we ask the IB first, service quality. Okay, so the description is, please choose the closest opinion related to all statements provided. From 1, strongly disagree, to 5, strongly agree. Okay, now we add a question. Now, how to choose the first one is service quality. So let's say I copy and paste. Okay, I put here as number 1. This is the question. Now, to choose the Likert scale 1 to 5, please do not choose multiple choice. Like this. This is not the way, because this is quite long. So I just delete. What you have to do is, the best way is to click linear scale. 1 to 5. 1 is strongly disagree. Number 5 is strongly agree. And then click required. Okay, and then just click. And then see this one. So they will answer based on the rating given. Not to be multiple choice. Just click this one. And then because why? The output, the result that you want to download in terms of number. Yeah. Okay, now, apart from that, you can delete the question, no problem. You can duplicate. Duplicate is better because you just continue. This one is already have. So you just copy number 2. Then you put here number 2. And then as you can see, duplicate question. Question number 2 already done. And then number 3. B. Then number 3 is already available. And then this one, number 4. Done. And then duplicate. Okay, and then the last one. Last one will be This. Okay, done. And then once you are done, you add the next question. Okay, you can duplicate here. Okay, this is the next section. The next section will be section B2. Section B2 is related to social influence. And then you may copy the instruction here. Okay, and then from here you can duplicate, no problem. And you see this cursor, like the cross, 4 junction cross. So you just scroll down, bring it down there. You have this one, number 5, and this one also. So you just put here, let's say number 6. This one. So the rest goes on, yeah, until you complete the second, third section, fourth section, yeah, until the last one is done. Okay, so this is how you do the Google form on this. And once you are done, you may click publish. Okay, and then sorry, not this one. Form is share. Click share. Right? So just click share. Just click.
Doctor, is there an ideal number of how many max or minimum the questionnaire should be?
3 to 5. 3 to 5. 3 to 5. 3 is too little. Maybe 4 or 5. Normally I will do 4 to 5. Yeah. So editor view restricted. Anyone with the link. Respondent view. Anyone with the link. Sekejap kat mana tadi saya nak tekan publish. Copy respondent link. This one. Copy and then share with your friends. So with this link, they may respond. Yeah. So this one, you may continue until the end. But please make sure, okay, one of the common mistake that student make is, okay, let me show you the, okay, this one, like Christina's one. Okay. Christina already have IV, statement, mid-rating, but they forget to put DV as a statement. So, ini pun satu benda bahaya juga ni, danger juga. So, you need to make sure that the DV also must have statements. If your DV does not have statements, it will be, that means the DV cannot be measurable, the analysis tak boleh run, and then hypothesis pun tak boleh nak run juga. Itu maksudnya. Okay. So go back to the comments. Hasnim, I forget to comment Hasnim's one. Judicial thinking style, executive, legislative, DV, sharing behavior, into contact, interpersonal, internet-based. Again, Hasnim, your DV ada 2. Yang mana satu? Interpersonal ke ataupun internet-based ke macam mana? Sebab ni macam conflicting sikit.
Oh,
You buat law ke?
Bukan. Bukan, doktor.
Okay. Sebabnya DV macam ada 2. Interpersonal satu, internet-based satu. So, yang mana?
Kalau saya choose interpersonal, doktor?
Boleh. Tak ada masalah. Pilih satu je. Jangan buat 2. Buat satu je. Ya, cuma judicial thinking style. You ada paper tak ni? Judicial sharing behavior ni. Ada paper ke? Maksudnya dapat tak paper yang buat questionnaire ni untuk support you punya this one? Takut tak ada je.
Saya just follow
idea sendiri.
Ya.
Saya tak recommend benda tu sebenarnya sebab research ni bukan macam buat assignment. Maksudnya benda tu datang daripada, idea datang daripada langit. Tidak. Maksudnya idea tu datang daripada research paper yang dah dipublishkan. Itu lagi better. Sebab kita boleh adapt. Kita boleh copy. Dia bukan simply macam idea tu datang daripada langit. Macam tu. Sebab tu kalau ada paper lagi bagus sebenarnya. Yeah. Okay. Let me check the. Okay. That's all. Alright. Any other questions before we? I think we are done everything. I already covered the Google form also on how to do this one. So if you want me to check also, I can check this one. Let's see. Yeah. And the rest of it, you may continue with the anything related to assignment 2. Yeah. Okay, any question before we end the session? As far as attendance is concerned, there is a download version. I will download this one. Download attendance list. Yeah, so 22 students are attended. So this one I will record it in the attendance. So whatever names are available in the attendance list, that means they are present. Normally the name comes from here. Okay, so I think if there is no question, that's all for today. Okay, thank you so much for having here. And inshallah, God willing, that we will see you again next time around. You have any concern, you may DM me to solve your problems, especially related to your conceptual framework. Okay, so with that, thank you so much. Happy weekend. Stay safe. Take care, and have a nice day. And goodbye. See you later.
Thank you, Doctor, for the class today.
Thank you, Doctor.
Thank you, Doctor.
Thank you, Doctor.